Peace be upon you. Why go through the trouble of having children in the first place? Is it just to be normal like everyone else? Are children really a blessing when, as kids, they are a source of exhaustion and tension? Then, when they grow up a bit, they live in their own world, away from me. And when they became independent, they leave the house and leave me to sorrow, depression, and a strained relationship with my husband. On their account, is it sensible to send my children to school, even if I feel that it doesn't do its part, just to take a few hours break from their racket and care for myself a little? You say that one of the most important jobs for a woman is raising her children. So, am I just a nanny? Should most of my abilities, strength, time, and talent be spent on parenting? Isn't it enough that I put my children in a school that costs a fortune? To fulfill my duty towards my children, what aspects of education should I look for in a school before enrolling them to ensure that educational goals are met? What's the story of the two doctors who used to give cancer patients salt and water? And what does that have to do with parenting? You warn us about video games and mobile phones where kids can view what they wish. How do I fill their free time then? Do I, personally, have to fill all their free time and forget about myself? What if I don't find fulfillment in serving my husband and children, but find it in volunteer, educational, and even dawah, advocacy, work? Aren't these noble goals? My husband does not help me in raising our children. Is it fair that I endure the burden alone? I tried to reform my child, but he deviated and strayed, and I am disheartened and sad. What should I do? Why is parenting seemingly intense and not easy? Shouldn't it be simpler? As every child is born on fitra, agreed upon. The story starts as follows. Allah created creation for a purpose. Servitude to Allah in its comprehensive sense, which we discussed last time. This servitude needs honorable souls, as expressed in the honorary welcoming celebration of man, the prostration of angels, and subjecting everything to man's service. And he has subjected for you all that is in the heavens, and all that is on earth, all from him. Indeed, there are signs in this for people who reflect. Quran translated meaning 45:13. Everything is for you and at your service to achieve the goal of your existence. Servitude to Allah in its comprehensive sense. You will need to acquire honor and dignity to elevate your soul to work toward the great goal and achieve the glory, empowerment, and vicegerency befitting of the champions of Allah. Therefore, whoever accepts guidance, it is only for his own good. Quran translated meaning 17:15. You will reap the benefit of self-reform as well as eternal bliss and paradise. In contrast, those who are heedless about the purpose of their existence and who forget Allah are deprived of this honor. Do not be like those who forgot Allah, so he made them forget themselves. Quran translated meaning 59:19. He made them forget to benefit themselves through purification and self-development into a human working towards a great purpose. When I consider that the goal of my existence is servitude to Allah and the blessings that follow, all my actions will be directed towards achieving this goal, even innate behavior such as marriage and childbirth. The beauty of servitude to Allah is that it amplifies our instinctive joy in the blessing of children. And those who say, Our Lord, let our spouses and children be a source of joy for us and make us good examples for the righteous. QTM 25:74. A source of joy in this life and the next, as opposed to those who forgot Allah and saw this joy turn into torture. So do not let their wealth or their children impress you. Allah only intends to punish them through them in worldly life, and that their souls should depart while they are disbelievers. Quran translated meaning 9:55. My children will carry on my legacy after I die, or a virtuous descendant who prays for him, Muslim. For them to be thus, I must raise them as honorable humans, as Allah wants them to be. This is parenting. All that makes my children's upbringing the focus of my attention, and my most important project. The problem starts, dear viewers, when we forget our great purpose of servitude to Allah. Since this episode is part of a series dedicated to you, Muslim woman, we will focus on you and your role in parenting, because it's within the area of success in the basics, before you seek self-fulfillment and success in other areas, thus straying away from the basics and priorities discussed earlier. Parenting is a shared responsibility between the spouses. What if the father falls short? We will address that. But now we're addressing you, sister. For many women, the word parenting does not impress them. Parenting. My children go to school, and I made sure to enroll them in conservative schools with relatively safe environments. They will get the same upbringing I got. What more should I do? Let's review together what parenting means. Then see whether your child is really receiving it from schools or society. 1. Parenting means raising your children on the concepts of modesty, chivalry, bravery, mercy, dignity, honor, rejection of injustice, anger for the sake of Allah, guardianship of sanctities, forbidding evil, and strength of character, values that this world tries to destroy by any means possible in schools, media, cartoons, video games, etc., which contain deliberate insinuations to destroy modesty and promote violence. 2. Parenting means teaching your children how to think, ask the right questions, and express themselves, how to differentiate real knowledge from fake, how to critique the concepts presented to them, how to identify the fallacies used by fabricators to make them doubt their religion, and how to verify information. 3. Parenting means helping your children discover themselves, develop their strengths, and then set goals that match their abilities and circumstances, and contribute to the glory of the Ummah. Teaching your children to be themselves. Accept yourself and do not adopt the personalities of others. Don't feel like a failure if you don't achieve what others have achieved. Don't set goals that don't suit you, as everyone has their own personality. Otherwise, your child will not be satisfied or happy. 4. Parenting means guiding your children to answers for the major existential questions. Who am I? Who created me? What's my fate? What's the purpose of my existence? Why am I Muslim? What's the evidence that the Quran is from Allah? What's the evidence for Muhammad's prophethood, peace be upon him? How were the Quran and Sunnah, which are my references, preserved? 5. Parenting means that your child doesn't reach the age of 22, after 18 of schools and universities, without knowing the answers to these questions, or even knowing how to think, that he isn't so easily influenced. That one absurd article or video can move him away from religion. His discussions are shallow and lack the basic elements for correct reasoning, rational debate, or scientific criticism. He's under the foolish impression that he's educated because he's an engineer, doctor, or professor. 6. Parenting means connecting your children to the true role models in Islamic history, educating them about the Ummah's history, and developing pride in their deep roots, instead of blindly parroting adulterers, drunkards, and the lost social media influencers in clothes, haircuts, and mannerisms. 7. Parenting is teaching your children to ask why before any action, and not follow meekly and blindly like lambs. 8. Parenting is instilling in your child an awareness of all inputs, so they become alert to the media's tricks and attempts to reformulate their paradigms and values. I remember how my father, may Allah have mercy on him, used to raise our awareness by discussing some of what we watched and what impact it had on us. 8. Parenting means endearing to your children the pursuit of beneficial knowledge in all areas, the love of books and watching educational series. Let their motto be, strive for what benefits you. Muslim, they will feel mentally and spiritually fulfilled, instead of the emptiness that drives them to follow trivial YouTubers, become addicted to illicit clips, or live in the fantasy world of video games. 10. Parenting means igniting your children's enthusiasm to learn what's required to master modern-day tools and become successful and influential Muslims. This includes technology, financial management, persuasion skills, leadership skills, and teamwork. 11. Parenting means connecting your children with righteous companions and actively soliciting good friends for them, even if you need to establish relationships with their mothers, to provide a safe environment for your children. 12. Parenting means teaching your children the rights, duties, and priorities of every family member, which we'll discuss, Allah willing, such as teaching your son to be dutiful to his brothers and kind to his sister. 13. Parenting means raising your children on solemnity and responsibility, to expect pain in life, to endure it with patience and acceptance, and that they are not here in this life for rest and relaxation, as it is a place for trials, not rewards. 14. Parenting means connecting your child with the Quran and developing his/her ability to understand it and use its guidance, which requires you to develop their love of the Arabic language. 15. Parenting means teaching your children that the law of Allah is the reference for every believer, and that they shouldn't acknowledge any other reference. In a time when many are trying to restrict Allah's religion to limited rituals, while human desires are sanctified and glorified. 16. Parenting means ensuring that your children's greatest value is upholding the oneness of Allah, glorifying Him, loving Him and His messenger above all else, and avoiding what subverts Allah's oneness. 17. Parenting means instilling in your children a sense of belonging to the Muslim Ummah and concern about its issues, and teaching them to translate this concern into positive action, not despair or frustration. 18. Parenting is building close relationships with your children, based on love, trust, and care, listening to their problems and befriending them. Otherwise, you will not be able to achieve the goals we mentioned. 19. Parenting is understanding the specific needs of your child at every age level, and using age-appropriate methods, stories, games, group activities, etc. 20. Parenting means helping your children solve the problems they face as they develop their characters, with even more care than you give to treat their physical illnesses. 21. Parenting means being a real-life model who represents all these values before expecting them from her children. A genuine teardrop of emotion while reading the Quran, or remembering the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, will touch your children's hearts more than any religious lesson in school. Insisting that your children pray far more than your insistence that they get up for school will build reverence for Allah in their hearts and make Allah foremost in their lives. Fulfilling your duties in their father's presence and absence will teach them to be mindful of Allah's watchfulness, your piety and service to your parents. Reading useful books in front of your children and with them, not limiting yourself to social media, will get them into the reading habit. You won't need to fill your children's time yourself once you've set their feet on the right path. In conclusion, parenting means raising a human with a goal, establishing servitude in its comprehensive sense, to achieve virtue in this life and the next. Do you now know the meaning of parenting? Of raising a human being? Do you know the meaning of, she is responsible for her charge? And the meaning of our Prophet's words, as related by Bukhari, a frightening hadith that makes you feel the gravity of responsibility. Any man whom Allah has given the authority of ruling some people, and he does not look after them in an honest manner, will never feel even the smell of paradise. Notice the prophetic expression, he doesn't look after them. You are required to look after your children from every aspect, not by constant advice and criticism which drives them away from boredom, but by being a real-life role model, directing them as needed, and protecting them from harm, with a firm, yet kind and loving hand. You look after them to protect them from the arrows of desires and shubhas, doubts, fired at them from every direction. You're the one qualified to develop all that in your child. You are the one qualified to instill honesty in the hearts of your children by your actions. As Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman said in a hadith, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, told us that honesty descended in the roots of the hearts of men, and then they learned it from the Quran, then from the Sunnah. Bukhari. If you ingrain honesty and being true to oneself in the hearts of your children, they will benefit from the Quran and the Sunnah. Otherwise, nothing benefits them and they become mere numbers into the herd of frivolous hypocrites. The mother of Sufyan al-Thawri said to him, O my son, seek out knowledge, and I will, with my spinning wheel, provide enough for you to live on. Meaning devote your time to seeking knowledge. O my son, when you have written down 10 hadiths, look and see if you notice an improvement in your walk, your patience, and your self-dignity, meaning your morals. For if you do not see any such improvement, then know that your knowledge harms you and doesn't benefit you. She didn't push him to get high grades or be better than his cousins. But I want knowledge that improves your morals. The trust of knowledge. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Ash-Shafi'i grew up as orphans. Each was raised by his mother. They became the Ummah's leaders in work and knowledge. You are qualified for all this because they're your children. No school, nursery, kindergarten, or nanny can replace you. You can replace everyone, but no one can replace you. Do not be surprised then that Islam honors the mother, and places paradise at her feet. Remember, after all this, your retort, just a nanny, followed by exclamation and question marks, when the retort itself deserves 1,000 exclamation marks. The current social norm is that all the above pillars of parenting come naturally, i.e., there is no need to learn them. While university degrees consume 20 years of our life, the most negative message this sends our children is servitude to Allah, in its comprehensive sense, is not our life's purpose. They soak in this obliviousness daily from our behavior. This was expressed in a comment from a sister on the episode, Women and the Pursuit of Self-Fulfillment. I consider myself a victim of such a mindset. My upbringing emphasized the idea that I only have to study. We only want you to focus on your studies and get the highest scores, so you get into a prestigious college. I finished college, then got married without any basics on how to manage a house, deal with a husband, or raise children. Moreover, I had this great sense of guilt for not completing my postgraduate studies. Parents enforce the message that your value is in the position you reach and your work accomplishments. While your work in the home is nothing special, every woman does it. It doesn't matter how you do it or what the result is. What's more important is that you make us proud. So, your home is nothing special, every woman does it. And what's more important is that you make us proud. Another sister comments that her husband insults her, saying, "Why can't you be like so-and-so, who works and earns money? Home and children? All wives have homes and children." Imagine the manipulation we suffered to distort the phrase, the woman's work at home, and confine its meaning, in our minds, to inanimate objects, like the sink, washing machine, broom, and fridge. We constantly hear about children, some from so-called conservative families, who become atheists or homosexuals, much to their parents' shock. Why are you shocked? Did you protect your children and sincerely care for them, as our prophet, peace be upon him, commanded? Or are your enemies reaping the fruits of what they sowed in your children while you were negligent? Can you tell me, ma'am, how many of these goals are achieved by schools? Rather, do schools achieve these goals or destroy them, apart from a select few here and there? As a practical exercise, when you enroll your child in a school, please take with you the list of 21 elements of parenting that we discussed, and ask those in charge, can you tell me how many of these goals you achieve? And what programs and methods do you implement to achieve them? Years ago, there was a case of 2 doctors in a major hospital in an Arab country who prescribed medication to a cancer patient. But, in collaboration with some nurses, the doctors didn't administer the medicine to the patient, but sold it on the black market, while the patient was given an intravenous injection of normal saline, i.e. water and salt. Distressing, isn't it? This is similar to what's happening to the Muslim youth. Their humanity needs to be protected from ignorance and desires. But, instead, most educational curricula deliver normal saline solutions, or even, in many cases, toxins. Parents assume that they have fulfilled their duty by sending their children to such schools. The most dangerous thing isn't leaving the patient without treatment, but administering normal saline, or even toxins, into his body while deluding him and his family into thinking that you're offering a treatment. You might say, what you said about my role in parenting is unrealistic. It's as if you are expecting every mother to be an expert in all these aspects. My reply, sister, is that you are required to build the foundation, set your children's feet on the right path, and ignite their motivation to learn and implement their knowledge. After that, your role is to assist and encourage them. When your son encounters a shubha, you help him resolve it by guiding him to authentic sources and references, and to people he can trust. When your daughter struggles with mental health, you encourage her to visit a specialist. Your children are at the heart of your life project. You might say, I see that you've put the burden of parenting on me. What about the father? First, it isn't a burden. It's an honor. Parenting, purification, and developing human beings is the job of the prophets, peace be upon them. And the worker is honored according to the honor of his role, since the financial support burden falls on the man, which usually entails long hours at work, outside the home. The time you spend with your children will naturally be much longer, and you have a greater chance at parenting. Nonetheless, we should remind people that parenting is a joint responsibility between the parents. Such a great responsibility requires your cooperation. Some men commented on the episode, "I am not the housemaid," saying, "Do you want us to work hard at work? While the woman is spoiled at home, doing nothing. Then you ask us to help her with the housework as well. We, brother, ask you to assist her with the housework and reduce your demands so she can spend her time on the greater mission, building the human. You have to assist her with this mission as well, and not fall short in your parenting duties using the excuses, 'I work for you, for your sustenance. Life is expensive, times are difficult.' Even when you're at home, you don't spend quality time with your children where you are mentally present. Instead, you are busy on your phone, on calls and other things." One of the requirements of Kawama, men's authority and responsibility, is for the dad to be a role model for life balance and giving each their due. He is therefore primarily responsible for this. When the prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that he who doesn't take care of his children will never feel even the smell of paradise, he was addressing you, brother. There are parenting roles that can only be done by you. Allah has given one over the other. Quran translated meaning 434. It would very exhausting and unfair to the woman to ask her to do them. The man must therefore lead the parenting project and overcome its obstacles. The real start of the journey of parenting is choosing a wife or a husband to help you to achieve the major goal that we mentioned. However, sister, even if the father isn't fulfilling his role in parenting, you ask him and remind him of Allah, but he isn't responsive. Would you abandon your children? If he doesn't take his children to get vaccinated against polio, measles, smallpox, etc., would you say, "He fell short of his duties, I won't bear the burden alone"? Or would your mercy propel you to take them? Doesn't your child's soul have a higher priority? Turn to your soul and cultivate its morality. It's the soul that distinguishes humanity. It won't be an easy mission, but you'd absolve yourself in front of Allah. You can seek help from educational resources and centers, beneficial courses, and good companionship to help fill the void created by the father's shortcomings and assist you in your mission. You might say, honestly, I, myself, lack many of the values and elements of parenting you mention. How can I raise my children on them? I can't give what I don't have. True. We need to acquire these values first, then raise our children on them. This is a life journey, which requires continuous learning, immense effort, and seeking Allah's help. Much of what we publish in these articles and series is an attempt to build the mentioned parenting elements in ourselves, whether in the journey of certainty, the women in depth, the Quran contests we hold, or others. We will also refer you to series and books by noble educators to fill the gap and provide a roadmap. What we are trying to deliver is nothing short of the ABCs of life, which we should have learned from an early age. The solution starts with elevating the importance of developing a person. We're now fighting a battle for the soundness of our souls, liberation of our spirits and innate natures, and the revival of our purpose. The beauty is that as you parent your child, you'll find that you're parenting yourself in the process. You don't see your soul within you, but you'll see its faults, its tricks, and the great results of parenting. You'll see all that in your son and daughter. It's a wisdom in creation and a fact of life that we discover ourselves in the journey of parenting. We discover the beauty of the human soul that Allah has blessed us with, and the beauty of planting seeds in it, watering them with revelation, then reaping the results and enjoying the beauty of its liberation. You can sense this beauty in the comments on the episodes, from brothers and sisters who tasted the pleasure of discovering Sharia and discovering their souls by Allah's grace. You might say, shouldn't parenting be simpler than this? Isn't it that every child is born on fitra, innate nature? Agreed upon. Did the early Muslim generations need all this complexity? We say, dear sister, the most dangerous thing that happened to Muslims after the military occupation withdrew from their countries is that they thought they were independent because they no longer saw enemy soldiers patrolling the streets. They don't realize the psychological, intellectual, spiritual, and moral occupation they're still living under. So they don't seek liberation. As someone eloquently expressed, all our homelands are occupied whether our occupiers stay or depart. What's the benefit of freeing our land if our souls and bodies are still occupied? Our homeland will regain its freedom once humans regain their humanity. The early Muslim generations had pure innate nature and sound souls. They lived faithfully to achieve comprehensive servitude, the goal that drove their actions. Thus, Their default path was the righteous path, easily without effort. Their souls glorified revelation and had complete trust in it. They ran away from all ignorance, old and otherwise, disdained it, and blocked its entry into their hearts. They reconsidered all their legacies and reevaluated them against the divine standards. Lapses into ignorance happened now and then, but they identified them as ignorance, fought them, and extinguished them. They committed sins, but they recognized them as sins. In contrast, people nowadays are born with pure, innate natures, then they're quickly manipulated left and right, mentally, intellectually, and morally by the soft occupation regimes, who ensnare them through a continuous torrent of temptations, shubhas and falsehoods, to obscure truth, while the magnet of servitude to Allah that gathers the shreds of the soul is missing. Thus, the process seems difficult, because we are gathering the shreds of a scattered soul, pulled in every direction by callers at the gates of hell. The Quran then was comprehensible with a profound impact on the soul. But nowadays most Arabs find it difficult to understand it. Your role is to remove the debris from your children's innate natures. Keep their focus on the goal that reconstructs their shattered souls, and bring them closer to Allah's revelation. You might say, after hearing all this, I fear for my children's future, and I'm even hesitant to have children in the first place. We say, Allah has decreed that this ummah will ultimately be the victorious one. The promised conquest of Rome and entry of Islam into every home will be fulfilled by the progeny of Muslims. Muslims won't perish, nor will aliens from another planet come to support this religion. The glad tidings of our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, are meant to bring reassurance to our hearts and inform us that we are fighting our round, then passing the banner to our children through good parenting, so that they continue on the journey of victory. And the prosperous end is for the pious. QTM 7:128. The most dangerous thing that happens while raising children, and the main reason they become misguided, and a source of misery to parents, is that parents forget these meanings. They forget that parenting must be a part of the achieving the major goal, servitude to Allah. Young men and women get married, then have children, because that's what people do, and sometimes to satisfy their parental instincts, and fill their house with kids' voices. Then what? Nothing. He seeks the fulfillment of his desires more than the fulfillment of his family duty. She also seeks self-fulfillment and success away from her children. Such parents soon find themselves on a collision course with their children. They see them as an obstacles to their ambitions and interests, because the children are not part of their ambitions. They get annoyed and irritable when the children take some of their time, because it's hindering them from achieving their goals, which don't include children. This anger and tension amplifies their failure at parenting. Children who are lost between two parents who don't enjoy raising them will start creating problems, and their relationship with you, the parents, will become strained. They will even become a source of tension between you as a couple, as you start blaming one another, each throwing the heavy burden of parenting on the other, while the kids watch and register how you regard them as a nuisance, instead of enjoying their company. What do most parents do in this case? They give their children the most dangerous bribe. They provide them with whatever they desire, even if it's harmful, as if to say, I am busy, child. Stop wasting my time and attention. What do you want? Food. Here. Sweets, even if harmful. Here. More spoiling. Money. Take. A phone. A tablet. An iPad. Take it. Xbox. PlayStation. Here. Take whatever you want, but get out of my hair. Sedatives for the child's soul, which is screaming from ignorance and spiritual emptiness, asking for what harms it, not what benefit it. A sister commented on the last episode, saying, My husband is kind and religious, but he does not contribute to raising his children, except by fulfilling their needs and desires, so that they don't feel inferior to other kids, as he says. My attempts to set a goal for them, teach them the principles of Islam, and urge them to pray, avoid petty things, and seek beneficial knowledge. Make me the house villain, bossy and tough, as opposed to his gentleness, kindness, and devotion to facilitate and ease their lives. I am still striving, but should I continue this difficult role alone? Till when? A child is naturally attracted to fun and pampering, and mine run away from the duties and hard work that I represent. We say, yes, Dear sister, continue using different approaches. And mix what you're doing with kindness and affection. Ask your husband to watch this episode as well. And may Allah grant you great reward for your patience and struggle. In contrast to neglect, there is destructive attention. The danger when we tell the woman to care for her children without explaining how is that she may think that she's burning herself out. And forming a deep emotional attachment is what we mean by care. She may think that care means relieving them of all housework so that they can study, reciting their lessons, yelling at them to do their homework, performing their duties for them, even making their beds, and killing their chance to become independent. She may think that she has gone above and beyond in her parenting duty, while, in fact, she's channeling her sense of responsibility in the wrong direction, harming herself and her children while deluding herself that she's doing good. When our goal is servitude to Allah, care for our children will be through the correct methods for building the human. Otherwise, this care may be harmful. I want my children to be successful. What's success? What are the criteria for success? If you want to help your children with their studies, endear knowledge to them. Teach them how to organize their schedule, how to approach different kinds of problems, and how to analyze and reach conclusions. But don't use the commonplace, come and recite method, the most used word in our education culture. You should let them bear the responsibility of neglecting their duties. Don't let this ruin your relationship with them by creating an atmosphere of tension and screams. One of the most important principles of parenting for a mother is to let go of harmful mercy and excessive intervention. Be more rational and calm and take care of yourself. Don't be a burnt-out mother who suffers from tension and anxiety in the name of care for the children. Don't be a nervous wreck, emotionally drained, and ready to explode at your children and husband. Many women, after childbirth and when children grow up a little, stop being wives and become just mothers. Her relationship with her husband becomes strained, and her children, for whose sake she burned herself out, see a mother who failed in her relationship with herself, her husband, and with them, a nervous wreck. Thus, the mother draws for her children a miserable picture of family life and of the family institution. So they run away from marriage and even from Islam that decreed it, encouraged it, and prohibited all other relationships between couples. The youth may then seek emotional gratification in illicit relationships because they don't want to relive the failed marriage of their parents. Be a candle that burns out to illuminate the path for your children is a false slogan. In Islam, yourself has a right upon you, so give to each his due. Bukhari. When you burn out, you won't illuminate your children's lives, but instead, you darken it with soot. Don't burn out. Instead, illuminate their lives with your balance and serenity. Give yourself its due according to the priorities that we discussed. Enjoy yourself, cheer yourself up, enjoy your husband's company, and give him his due. And your children's affairs will fall into place, Allah willing. Don't tie your success to your children's success, according to standards imposed by society, such as school studies, university degrees, and grades. Do not busy yourself with the opinions of others about your children, at the expense of your soul, what you owe it, and prioritizing Allah over everything in your children's life and yours. Be a role model for balance and happiness. This will help your children achieve true success in their life and religion, and develop their own balanced and happy families. Well, I made servitude to Allah my life's purpose, and I care for my children's guidance, their servitude to Allah and their afterlife. Or, I became aware of these aspects after my children grew up, but when I tried to catch up, my children were not responsive. I now feel frustrated and defeated, which is making me miserable. Here, Sharia draws the boundaries to stop this feeling from taking over and making you neglect yourself and become overcome with sorrow, which can only harm you and, in turn, your children, because you won't be strong enough in your attempt to save them. Here, Allah's book says, you cannot guide whoever you like, but Allah guides whom He wills. QTM 28:56, and reminds you that Prophet Noah was unable to save his own son, that Allah's will be done, and that care for your children shouldn't detract from care for yourself. It is true that the mother whose child has gone astray or lives in negligence should reflect on the possible reasons, try to catch up on neglected duties, and mend, to the extent possible, what she can, but without despair, and with great caution that the devil doesn't enter her heart through this self-accountability and lead her to self-flagellation. You might say, your words sound reasonable to me, but psychologically, I do not find myself with my husband and children, but rather in volunteer, educational, and even Dawah work. Aren't these noble goals? We say, sister, our religion teaches us that we shouldn't just do what we enjoy, but what we ought to do. You're following whims when you go against priorities, and put what you love above what Allah loves, even if what you love is an act of obedience. As in Allah's words, which can be translated as, but as for he who feared the position of his Lord, and prevented the soul from inclination, then indeed, paradise will be his refuge. Quran 79:40-41. Allah's law that commands you to take care of your children, and push yourself to do so even if you don't enjoy parenting, is the same law that commands your child to care for you when you're old and force himself to do so even if he doesn't enjoy serving you and fulfilling your needs, or finds it boring. He cannot neglect you even if he wants to busy himself with worship. Our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to Muawiyah as-Salami, when he wanted to do jihad with the Prophet, go back and honor her, stay by her feet, for there is paradise, meaning his mother. Juraj al-Abid was tried by Allah when his prayer busied him from responding to his mother's call, as in Bukhari and Muslim. Uwais al-Qarani's filial piety and care for his mother prevented him from the honor of hijrah alongside the Prophet. The actions mentioned in these authentic hadiths, jihad at talab, striving for Allah, supererogatory prayers, hijrah, migration, are some of the most noble acts. But Allah prioritized care for the mother over them all. Perhaps the mothers in question were dependent on their children. Allah, who commands servitude to him through care for your children, commands them to treat you well when you age. The highest servitude is through their humility to you, and lower to them the wing of humility out of mercy. QTM 1724. What's happening to the elderly in Europe during this coronavirus epidemic and the neglect they're suffering from is a lesson to all. Be certain, sister, that if you favor what Allah loves over what you love, and you build a human through these great goals and sound parenting pillars, the burden of parenting will turn into joy, self-satisfaction, and self-respect that far exceeds any other joy you may experience. Do you know, dear sister, the meaning of parenting? It's a long journey that requires patience. It is building a human deserving of eternal life close to Allah, instead of one who is fuel for the fire. O you who believe, protect yourselves and your families from a fire, whose fuel is people and stones. QTM 66:6. Your children are your protection from the fire. Whoever is in charge of these daughters and treats them benevolently, then they will act as a shield for him from the hell, fire. Bukhari. Your child is an extended reward for you after you die. A man will be raised in status in paradise, and will say, where did this come from? It will be said, from your sons praying for forgiveness for you. Your children will be your life's joy if you raise them well. It isn't an easy journey, but is one that yields great rewards. You may stumble at times and feel overwhelmed at others, but as for those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our ways. For Allah is certainly with those who do good. QTM 29:69. Allah is with you. He will correct your shortcomings and help you. Seek a middle course, or close to it, and rejoice. Bukhari. Such a great status. When someone asked, Prophet of Allah, who among people is most deserving of my fine treatment? Your Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, your mother. Who next? Your mother. Who next? Your mother. Who next? Your father. Bukhari. Your Lord has ordained that you worship none but him, and show kindness to parents. If one or both of them reach old age in your care, do not say to them a word of annoyance nor scold them. Rather speak to them noble words, and lower to them the wing of humility out of mercy, and say, my Lord, have mercy upon them, as they raised me when I was small. QTM 17:23-24. May the peace and mercy of Allah be upon you.